Business insolvencies set to rise globally in 2022, first time since COVID pandemic, research shows. Business insolvencies are set to rise as governments withdraw support measures that have helped companies stay afloat during COVID-19 pandemic. Research by Euler Herms. Globally, business insolvencies are expected to jump 15% on the year in 2022. The trade credit insurer said in a Wednesday report, even with the expected increase in 2022, overall insolvencies will likely remain 4% lower than in 2019 before COVID spread globally. So that, let's see, is this businesses globally 15%? Is there anything else in here? Looking at insolvency levels, governments succeeded in helping companies face the crisis. Massive state intervention prevented 1 out of 2 insolvencies in Western Europe and 1 out of 3 in the U.S. Their extension will keep insolvencies at a low level in 2021, but what happens next depends on how governments act in the coming months. Look, we all are facing crazy times, and stand to continue to get crazier as the rubber banding effect of effects. When something happens, we don't necessarily feel the effects right away. It's it's a month away, it's 2 months away, 3 months away, 6 months, a year later, where things start to really snap back and you start to feel the pain. And businesses are, not immune to this, especially ones that are smaller, that don't have, millions in the bank, hundreds of millions in the bank, billions in the bank, to be able to sit back and say, okay, look, we save for this rainy day. And that's why I always recommend, if you're in a business and you're not budgeting, start a budget. To start budgeting for every piece of your business should be budgeted and accounted for, not just from an accounting standpoint or something to that effect, but you want to make sure that you have something in the bank to be able to fall back on, right? And that's not easy for every business, but if you start today, tomorrow will be easier, right? That's the old mantra. Like, everything will be easier if I start today, and every day gets a little bit better, a little bit easier. We get 1% better. You got to make sure that you're doing everything you can to keep the opportunity from getting away from you, to be able to have some money and be able to make the bills. Like, how many months is the runway? How many months can you go without things getting out of hand and getting out of control? And that's where you got to be really, really clear on your intent to be able to put some of that money aside, right? I always say it with like restaurants, like, it's like, oh, it's a time to remodel. And it's like, well, yeah, it was time to remodel 5 years ago, but you didn't have the money then, and you didn't put the money away 5 years ago, and now it's 10 years later since the remodel, and that becomes a problem, right? Because now you're like, oh, I gotta have all this money all at once, or like taxes, right? Where you should have a separate account, put the money away into a tax account so that you have the money to pay the taxes when it comes time due. So you're not always constantly falling behind and feeling like you don't have the money to be able to pay it. So that not getting behind will keep you one step ahead of the game, and help you not feel the weight and the pressure of the situation that can really become a bad situation quickly for you and your business, as things, the snowball turns into a snow boulder and rolls right over you and crushes you and keeps you in a depressed state, and not thinking clearly state, and thinking more about what am I doing right now, rather than like, okay, what are we doing for right now? But how does right now play into the bigger picture of where we're at and where we're heading with the business? And that is where you really, why you need to put that money away, so that you don't fall into that trap. Now, again, not everybody has that opportunity to do so, but that is why you got to start today. and even in your personal finances, you absolutely should be looking to put as much money away as you possibly can for that rainy day, so that when business doesn't go right, things don't go your way, you don't get lucky 3 times in a row, 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row. Uh, have that learning moment, or as people call it, a failure. You can afford for that to happen.